Hey, okay, so hey, final verdict. I went to the doctor today, my last doctor visit, and he said that everything is mending just fine, and that basically probably 2 weeks, everything will be fully mended. I mean, everything is healing just fine. That is fantastic to hear. And, and pretty much he said the only thing is that I shouldn't lift heavy objects for about 4 weeks. I think I can handle it. He's like, "Well, what is it that you do?" And I was like, I'm an artist." And he's like, "Well, do you lift like the hit?" And I was like, "No, it's digital art." He's like, "I don't have a joke for that." And so we are in the clear. I am so happy for that. And considering what it was, we are, I am in the clear actually. But yeah. So pretty much no more doctor visits unless something happens. He says if you're changing the dressing and everything and you see something abnormal, I hope you get the joke. But uh, other than that, we're good. So yay. Yeah, because this was a scary thing. And so very scary I don't want to do this again. I don't want I gotta tell you, and then we'll go into what this is actually about. I gotta tell you, I have had two other instances in my life where I have almost died. And having a third time, I don't want to do this again. I don't want no more. No more of these moments. Okay, can we stop now? Okay, I get it. Oh, good heavens. But I do want to say this. I really appreciate you being patient and sticking around because when a channel goes silent, that can be annoying. So I really do appreciate you sticking around. And but anyway, I did want to fill you in, but let's get to what this is really about. Um, so we're going to look at part two. We looked at New York for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The second part is Venice. Okay, now again, we are looking at what is not so much the movie and everything and all of that. Now, with this, I do want to point out, because I don't think I did in the first half. With this, I was basically keeping to the gameplay itself, basically showing how to get through the game. I know with a lot of my gameplays, I like to show everything that you can do, like showing all the little side things here and there and all of that. I didn't do that with this one for some reason. And like especially in when you're in Henry Jones Sr.'s house, there's a lot of things that you can look at. And also in Indiana's office and like when I was explaining the three things that show up in another game, yeah, you can look at all the stuff in the shelves, and I just didn't do that. And so yeah, this particular gameplay just sticks specifically to the gameplay itself. And I usually don't do that, but for some reason I did with this. When I was breaking it down for this specific thing, I was noticing that. So weird. Not sure why I did that. Okay, but anyway, let's get started. I love that they kept the map travel. Ah, Venice. This is another instance where it's like the dialogue is the movie. However, they're not at the dock. Marcus Marcus looks at the camera. It's like, what's going on? What could you tell me about my father's disappearance? We were working in the library when it happened. I'll show you. Okay. Um, so here, um, this is the cafe. Now, in the movie, of course, when there's that point where Elsa and Indy pop up in a cafe, after dealing with that whole thing in the catacombs, and then they suddenly pop up in a cafe. Pretty much that's this here, this little cafe. I do appreciate that LucasArts showed different people. And we will see a few more, a couple more individuals. So you have the couple at the very end near the stairs, and you have a gentleman. He's either reading a menu or a book. And I think it's a book. Then you have this sweet old lady with this cat. And there's been speculation with different gamers or people who see this particular character. Is it a stray cat or is it her cat? And she, so that's the debate. They really fixate on this right here. So what do you think? Do you think that it's a stray cat bothering this sweet old lady just trying to have her lunch? Or is this lady, because there isn't you would think that if she had brought her cat to eat with the cat, that there would be like a small little plate there too. You would think. And but maybe she's tormenting the cat. Mean old lady. That's what she is. She takes her cat out to eat and then be like, no, maybe the cat was mean. Maybe the cat did something. And so, no, you don't get to eat. Never know. So yeah, and and of course you could see the sewer cover right next to Elsa's feet. So yeah, basically. I mean, when I started playing, I knew exactly what was going to happen here. However, it didn't happen the way I thought it was. Just letting you know. Um, so this is where it's going to shift a little bit. Again, this isn't exactly how it happened in the movie because they were at the dock and Marcus and Indy were at the dock. They had arrived and that's how they met Elsa, not at the cafe. So, all right, let's see what Marcus has to say. Why don't you two go ahead without me? I think I'll take a nice relaxing gondola ride. Very well, Marcus. That's not what happened because he went with them to the library. This is the library. It looks more like a church. You couldn't be more right. It was a church during the Crusades. Now, just before your father vanished, he was muttering something about Roman numerals. He said he'd searched everywhere for them without success. The library should be closing soon. I'll make sure we won't be bothered when we can take a look around. Then we can take a look around. Excuse me, sir. Pardon me. Hey, I doubt he'll be much trouble, Doctor. I, by the way, I don't know if I've shown this one yet, but I got this for Christmas and my dad was excited when he got this. So it's a Bob Ross, my Bob Ross mug. It's one of those heat activated mugs and everything, but he was super excited to get it for me for Christmas. He's like, you could use it for your channel. Plus, I like Bob Ross. I have a Bob Ross, like every other year, I get a Bob Ross calendar. So, but and this year will mark 30 years that he's been gone. So that's wow. But anyway, so again, I was 6 years old when I saw Last Crusade for the first time. And the whole scene with the guy stamping books, for some reason, that has stuck in my mind. It still makes me laugh. That, when I was 6, I was hysterically laughing. Now, again, a little 6-year old in the 80s. I mean, that was everything. Oh my gosh. I mean, just the whole thing of him stamping and thinking that it was doing something more than it really was. And this is the thing is that now I took German language class and my German language teacher actually was from Germany. Now she had seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, but she had not seen Last Crusade. And of course, us teenagers were like, well, Temple of Doom. Now, again, this was like 97, 98. And so there was still the whole thing of Temple of Doom isn't really worth anything. And so we told her that Temple of Doom, take it or leave it. And but we said, you gotta see Last Crusade. She said, well, what if you bring it and we will watch it? And I mean, it was so much fun watching her watch this movie. The greatest part about it is that she was a kid during everything that was going on during that time, which not good for that, but she that's why she came over here to America. And so yeah, she saw all of that go down when she was a kid. And but so when she was watching this kind of stuff, she we were like, well, what about this? What about this? And she's like, I love the goofy side of it. She's like, I enjoy watching the goofy side of how they portrayed this and this and this. And so yeah, it was great. Um, we had a blast having her talk about the actual history of some of the stuff of it, and because she was a history teacher at the school as well, and so it was a lot of fun. And but this particular scene, she was cracking up. She was absolutely cracking up. She really did. There was this scene, and there was one other scene that she just burst out laughing. And oh, it was the part where with the tank and Indy goes to get his dad, goes to say something, goes to check on his dad or something. And Henry pops up and says, you call this archaeology? She lost it. She, she thought that was just, and it made us laugh. It made us laugh because she was laughing so hard at that. She, she just, Oh, I loved her. She was a great teacher. She really was. The one uh movie that we didn't think would be uh a, that would be good was Swing Kids. There was one of my classmates was encouraged to watch it for something that she was doing, not in school, but for something else. And so I let her borrow my VHS. And she was handing it back to me, and our German language teacher said, "Well, what is that?" And we're like, She says, "Well, why don't we watch it in class?" And we're like, "I don't think that's a good idea." But, but we did, and she had a hard time with it. But again, it was one of those where she talked about the history of it. And I just remember once the movie was done, she sat down and it took a long time for her. She composed herself and she said, "That is probably one movie coming out of Hollywood that got the events right." She says, "I remember that happening when I was a little girl and everything." So, but I have Swing Kids on both. I'm sure you see it on my uh over there, and both VHS and DVD. It's one of those that I watch probably once every 3 or 5 years. It's a great movie. It's one of those, I will say this, it's not much of a spoiler, but it's one of those where if you're a Christian Bale fan, it will make you mad. It really will. And my mother loves the movie. And she says the same thing. She absolutely loves the movie, but she has said the same thing. She says it's one of those that I absolutely despise Christian Bale in it. And she's a fan of Christian Bale too. She likes his movies very much. And but so yeah, I miss my German language teacher. She's still alive. We actually had a celebration because she was big in the community here, and there was a big celebration for her. And I didn't get to go. I was very sad that I didn't get to go. And but my brother did. My brother went. He didn't even have her as a teacher, but he went, and he said she remembers you. She- She's in her 90s and she's still smart as a tack. I mean, sharp as a tack. I mean, she remembers a lot of her students. And when he told her who I was, his relation to me and everything, and she just started. It was like, yeah, I remember her, and how is she doing, and all this, and that warmed my heart, and that she remembered me and everything, and but yeah, she's doing well and everything, and I'm glad of that. So anyway, let's move on. Oh, this part. I'll let it play and then I'll pause because it can be annoying. So yes, you have to find these books. And this is one time where it's called the How to Fly a Biplane. And Dad searched for Roman numerals everywhere. And then there's a clue in the Grail Diary. This other book is, of course, World War II Bad Man book. I don't want to get flagged by YouTube, so I have to use special wording. And then the other one that you pick up is um oh, I forgot. Secrets of the Roman Catacombs. Okay. So the bookshelf thing. All right. You have to look for a specific row of books. Otherwise, you're just searching all over the place. I do remember that I think this is like the third play that I did. Because actually, when I was breaking this down, when we get to the biplane, I'll talk about it. And it's not in this section, it's in the next one. Because it's not in Venice, it's in Berlin. But oh my gosh. Like the first time I played this and I was going through trying to figure out the bookshelf thing, I'm not even kidding. It's like the Secret of Monkey Island Monkey Wrench thing. There are just, even back in 1989, because the next year was, of course, the Secret of Monkey Island, a lot of those puzzles were just like hair tear out. They had those, which I don't mind a challenge. I really don't. I grew up with a lot of those games, such as like Legend of Zelda and Mario, and give me a challenge. I'm fine with that. I don't want my hand held in a game. I don't. The point of a game is to be challenged. Okay. But my heavens, there's just a point. Like, the dig. In the dig, there's at one point where you have those rods with the colors on them, and they're supposed to match. And you also have that other section where, and I think the rods are the same as that uh, pad, the electric pad that you have a sequence that you have to come up with. That thing was pissing me off. Yes, I could not for the life of me. I actually had to look at a walkthrough to figure out what the hell was going on with that. I mean, because I was doing just fine on my own until it came to those rods with the three, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. What is going on here? So there are those specific puzzles where it's like even a brainiac can figure this out. Uh, You know, come on. I'm sure even those that are, because, I have friends who are like 4.0 students. They could, even my brother could do math equations in his head and not have to write it down. Same with my friends. They could do that. But there are just those certain things that they have here where it's like, no. Come on now. So yeah, with the bookshelf thing, I was going all over the place. And then when the walkthrough said, yeah, you have to find three books. Now again, this was during a time where we had like uh Nintendo Power, those books and everything. There, internet wasn't around. We didn't have walkthroughs. What the hell is that? Basically, we were going off of people would play the game and then tell you if the graphics were good. They actual game journalists back then. They actually did their job back then. Yeah, I said it. Fight me. Um, we didn't have these walkthroughs where they said, yeah, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. We didn't have that. I think the first ones came out, and you can correct me, of course. I think the first ones came out probably around the late 90s is when we started seeing them on the internet. Because I've come across a few that are still up. So, yeah, I was the first one that I did for this when I was trying to go around the all around here was like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to find in these bookshelves? Obviously, I'm supposed to find something, but what? And all he would do is say, I've already looked here. I've already looked at this isn't interesting. I don't care. It was like, so yeah, there's a specific area you're supposed to look. There are specific books you're supposed to pick up. The biplane book, World War II Bad Man book. Again, I got to use certain wording, otherwise YouTube will hurt me. And then the catacomb book. And I do want to point this out. Have we used the the fake Grail diary yet? Because remember he picked up the one he made as a boy in his dad's. So, he opened up that one thing and I haven't seen that yet. So far I haven't seen it because he's using the actual Grail diary right now. So, yeah. Uh-huh. It's kind of like in Fate of Atlantis, where there are those certain things that you will have in your inventory and you don't use them ever again. It's like the gum. You used it, but you never use it, but you're carrying it around and you're never using it again. Or Omar's map. You're never using it because when you actually start on your if you notice, when you actually start on the adventure, going on the path that you've chosen, be it fist path, wits path, or team path, there are certain things that are removed from your inventory, such as the arrowhead or the rag, the oily rag and all of that stuff. So, and in one of the paths you come across an oily rag again, so you have it in your possession again. Eh, okay, let's keep going. Sometimes this is the one that you're supposed to go to. Yes, you can. I can't pick that up. We've heard that one before. They use that again in Fate of Atlantis. Yeah, because it has to coincide with the clue. It's inscribed with these symbols. What's that noise? You there, don't move. Okay, so he's in the catacombs. Um, I do want to say that it doesn't always end up that the first one you hit is the right one. I mean, is going to be because I came across where the first one I hit, I end up getting kicked out of the library. I have to come back in, do all that stuff again. Yeah, and so just be aware of that. So in this case, you can use the book. I tried using the book and it just annoyed me. So I didn't use the book and yeah. Yeah, you don't have to use the book. Just because you picked it up doesn't mean you have to use it. Okay. I think it was the second time that I played. I tried using the book to see, and I was getting more annoyed than anything else. But that doesn't mean don't use it. Go ahead and uh yeah, just because I got annoyed doesn't mean you will. So, all right, let's go through the catacombs. Oh, and I do have to say my mouse was sticking or something, and that's why you'll hear like double clicks or something with his footsteps. So sorry about that. I do have to say that LucasArts because there's this, seeing the backdrop animation and the animation that they did for Secret of Monkey Island. I don't know if it's disturbing or what, but the fact that they are so good with animating skeletons, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because as you continue watching, you'll see, and I think that skeleton in the corner was used in Secret of Monkey Island. I wouldn't be surprised. The one lying on his back. Okay, before he bothers this couple. So here are two more people. And again, the nice old lady or mean old lady, we're not sure yet, with the cat. Now, the gentleman in the back with the blue jacket, I can't tell if he's crying or gorging on food because you see drops going every which. I was trying to figure that out. And so either he's gorging himself on food or he's crying. So I'm not sure what's going on with him. So I'm not sure. Now, this couple here is is something else. So we're gonna see right now. 1924, a very bad year. I knew that. Mind if I take this? Of course not. It was a dreadful wine. So he takes the wine bottle. Now, this is a thing in one of my other games that I played. You can't go back in through the door for some reason. Okay, it won't let you. But you go to the fountain and you fill the wine bottle in the fountain. Now the bottle is full of water. So it's a dreadful wine, but they drank it. Drunks. And then you go back down the manhole. Ouch, that had to hurt. Okay, I do want to say this. Again, I think that that skeleton on his back was used in Secret of Monkey Island. And I would not be surprised. But I do want to say this because part of this was used in Last Crusade. Of course, he went through the catacombs and everything, but Elsa disappeared because, of course, Elsa was the one in Last Crusade. She was the first one to say, "Lower me down." She she was like, "I want to go down there." And so now at first when I was watching, playing this, I mean, I was like, that's kind of annoying. I mean, why would they remove Elsa from this? Like when you go on the team path with Sophia, and even with the other paths when you're going to save Sophia and you reunite with her, you know, the whole point of Indiana Jones is like he's an adventuring 007, you know, and and 007 always had that that lady with him. So this was like, well, the catacombs, she was supposed to be there. But then as it continued, I was like, I'm kind of glad she's not there. I actually I actually like the fact that they had that little side thing where he goes up to the cafe, annoys the couple. It's like, yeah, that was a dreadful year. I don't want this wine. But it turns out they drank it. So maybe it's just me. I mean, like, I'll be honest, I like Elsa as a femme fatale. I do. I really do. And I think she's a great character. And but for in the game, if you're going to uh flesh out the catacombs, I think it actually works that she's not there, especially with everything that's going on. You know, if you're trying to make it more of a, I don't know, I know what I'm trying to say and it's not coming out right. Anyway, let's move on. That loosened the mud. He does that in the next game. The wine bottle broke. Well, the stick broke, but I got the map. There's there's quite a few things in here that you realize was helping with what they put out like in 92. That's it. In these games he doesn't really use his whip that much. Uh, you know, I have to play Temple of or not the Emperor's Tomb. I have to play that again. That was on my last the game itself was on my last laptop. So I have to play it again so it's on. Ugh. Can't believe it. I got all the way to the tomb and now I have to play it all over again. Such is my luck. Okay, before we get to that, because I do need to pause this and oh, heavens. All right. So this is another section that is not it, it, it again, this is one of those moments where I'm glad Elsa isn't here because of the fact that they're putting puzzles in for the sake of the game. You get that. And that's what I was trying to say earlier. And it wasn't coming. But you know, this one annoyed me and you'll see why. I do have to give LucasArts credit. I miss LucasArts. I really do. I miss them a lot. I know I'm not the only one. This is the thing is that despite going after them because of that monkey wrench. And it's not just the monkey wrench. There were a lot of other things that they had in their games that it was like, does this need to be here? And I'm sure I've ranted about that in like other, uh, even in Fate of Atlantis, I'm sure that there's something in there that it's like, why? Why did you put this here? I know what it is. In Fate of Atlantis, that towards the end where you're in that lava room and you have to go through all those different doors and you have to remember the sequence. And it doesn't matter if you write down the sequence or everything. Towards the end, before you actually get into that final lava pit room, there's that whole thing. And really, because I remember even trying to write down exactly the sequence and it'll still change on you. I had that happen. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I have also had, the lava thing that you have to cross and it'll uh and the little things pop, so you have to cross over and they will pop to make it so that you can't cross. So then you gotta go back and then it'll do the bop 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 bop. And then I had to do that one time at least 15 times before it finally I was like, I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna why are you doing this to me? I'm not kidding. Usually I would have about three, maybe four times, but I don't know what it was about that particular time, but it made me do it about 15 times. And I was like, just kill Indy right now. Just let fall in the lava. Let let her go. And Neurops saw made me do it. So yeah, but I do miss LucasArts because of the challenge. You know, stuff like this and everything else. It doesn't matter what game, you know, they put those puzzles in. LucasArts was the great alternative to Nintendo. I shit you not. I mean, you had your good Star Wars. I even showed. Oh, I don't know if I did. Do I still have it here? Yes, I do. I got this for Christmas. Like six Star Wars, seven, seven, and I'm having a ball playing these games that I used to play when I was a kid, you know, and so oh my gosh, give me these ones. Like Luke, my brother and I would play Star Wars Racer all the time. That was like the game of 1999, 2000. I mean, we were playing like crazy. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, the Star when it wasn't the Star Wars games, it was a lot of those others like Sam and Max, the point and click games and everything. And yeah, they're difficult puzzles and they make your brain think. It's like, no, I do that at school. I don't need to do that. It's, but when push comes to shove, that's what you want. That's what you want out of a video game. I mean, yeah, out of a video game. So, I do miss LucasArts, and but it's a nice alternative to Nintendo, which also made you think, when you look at like Legend of Zelda and a lot of those others that they put out. And anyway, let's look at this puzzle that made me upset because of that. And that might not seem like such a big deal, because then you think, oh, I totally have this. And then it does that. Stop. Yeah, because you don't want the certain death, the one that's labeled certain death. Not at all. Oh, good heavens. I suddenly remembered that Inferno Machine had catacombs. Okay, so this part, yeah, Inferno Machine had catacombs in one of their, I think two of the chapters. I think in the bonus chapter, he was in a room that had catacombs, and it seems like Marrowway. Yeah, it had to be Marrowway, where he was going through those pyramids. I actually like that one because I like the little boy. I love the little boy that wanted the pocket watch because he had a machine and he was industrialized. I always loved that little boy. Oh, good heavens. Now this one, I'll put a picture up because I think it's been about 3 years now that Return to Monkey Island came out, and there's a particular part in Return to Monkey Island, and it reminded me of this. And because I started playing this game the same time that Return to Monkey, I was like, "Oh, Ron Gilbert, you did a thing. You had to do a thing." And I mean, maybe he was doing a throwback and maybe not. Who knows? But I would like to think that he did because oh my gosh, I saw that part. When that part came on when was playing it, I was like, that is just like what I'm playing in Last Crusade right now. That's hilarious. And so and they're pretty much done the same way. So maybe it is a throwback. Who knows? I mean, I want to think so, so it is. Okay. That's my truth. I hate when people say that. But anyway, let's see how this works. And that, kids, is how Loom was done. I want to play that again. It's been a while since I played that. It's funny to watch these and see how much LucasArts entwined his games. Sure you get the Star Wars stuff and you get the Indiana Jones stuff, but uh, there's so many others that are, like when LeChuck's Revenge mentioned one of the airfield games, the airplane games or something. Yeah, there's so many references to the games altogether. I miss that. And just the fact that George Lucas was the troll. I still say that that was George Lucas as that bust in Donovan's office or apartment, I mean. It had to be. Oh, wow. Shield is the second marker Donovan spoke of. Okay, so this. Okay, a lot of gamers, they will play this game and they will say that it's not a very good game. And but they will look at this particular shot and say, why couldn't they animate the rest of the game to look like this particular scene? And yeah, the fact that they have the lighting, I mean, you look and the side lighting is amazing. This is pixels. 1989 pixels. It's I'm amazed by this because there are video game you look at some of the video games from like 92, 93, you look at Elvira's game. I mean, she looks like Elvira. You know, her the character in the game looks like Elvira. And um, by about 94, 95, they were actually putting photographs um and video clips in and audio clips in video games. In fact, one of the first was one of the Carmen Sandiego games. I think it was Where in U.S. History is Carmen Sandiego. I think that was the first one. And I mean, LucasArts jumped on that because I think one of these games actually has an actual has actual actors and they are portraying these characters and I think it's the Kyle Katarn one. And so, the one where Kyle Katarn goes on his mission, which is basically Rogue One. Look, I like Rogue One, but when you finally realize that it is the Kyle Katarn mission, it's like, oh, okay. And yeah. But so yeah, when it got to about the mid 90s, that's when there was that major shift in video games. I can't believe I'm old like this. That's when the audio and video and that kind of thing started to pop up. And then you started getting 3D animation. I mean, like 1998 is when Ocarina of Time and the Zelda gamers want to say that that was the beginning, and it's like, screw off. I'm sorry. No. Legend of Zelda is about to next year will be the 40th anniversary, and that's not 1998. Your math is off. Your math is Look, I'm all for people that is the first game that they played and they played it with, like a relative or something. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that. But when you're trying to say that that is the first game, no. I understand that the first game is, a little cringe and all of that stuff. Well, try playing the second one. That's a lot cringe and buggy. But we have learned, we have evolved. And but see, even when you look at Fate of Atlantis, now you think of some of the cut screens and all of that, and like when it shows um the close up of that idol and the orichalcum bead in Indiana's hand, it's still not as crisp and clear like this. Okay, it's almost like they took a step back because that's 1992. I mean, come on. Yeah. So I have to agree with a lot of the gamers that this isn't the best indie. I mean, like the most iconic, of course, is Fate of Atlantis, and everybody has their favorite. But yeah, um, but when you have a screenshot like this, why couldn't you polish it up a little bit? I mean, this was your money shot right here. I mean, with the cobwebs, even inside the skull. I mean, when you see the open mouth and you can see cobwebs inside, yeah. I mean, like I've been playing games for years, and you see a lot of those, like Prince of Persia. Even you look at the Rocketeer, and they do like the Hollywoodland, and they have the yeah. I have also seen. I don't remember what game that was. It might have been a Prince of Persia game where it's a moonlit night and it has a waterfall. Again, pixels, waterfall, and it shows like the moonlight crystallite, it's like this crystal effect to show the moon off of the water and bouncing off the water, the moonlight bouncing off the water. And it just does not compare to this. Now, a lot of pixel art from video games in the early 90s was gorgeous. Not gonna lie there. But the fact that the side lighting, I can't get past the side lighting on this. Anyway, rant over. Let's keep going. Let's see. It mentions the ancient city of Alexandretta, which is, of course, Iskanderun. So they're going to Iskanderun, just like in the movie. We'll find the Grail. And then, of course, he goes up, just like in the movie, kind of. And then she shows up. I've been looking all over for you. Not very well. And Marcus shows up. I found out where your father is. He's being held captive at the Brunwald Castle on the Austrian-German border. Great! And I found out where the Grail is. It's in Iskenderun. Of course, Iskenderun. Why are you all wet? Don't ask. Just like in the beginning. Okay, I'll rescue Dad. You'll meet me in Iskenderun. Sure. No trouble. I'll be off now. Uh, where is Iskenderun? Oh, goodness. So, of course, that was not in. That was their way of taking out all of that whole uh boat chase. The chase scene and everything, which too bad. That could have been a good. I mean, come on. A good chase scene in a game helps. Instead of all that you had to do. Okay, let's look at this logically here. Okay, so like um in Dick Tracy, of course, Angry Gamer has shown that the Dick Tracy car chase is annoying. If you want to actually see how annoying it is, go to see Angry Gamer or any of those other gaming, but he shows it well. But you have these games that have like the car chase. Even again, Fate of Atlantis has a car chase in the Wits Path. I love that one. I play the Wits Path just so I can have a car chase in Monte Carlo. When you have a chase of any kind in a video game, That is more exciting than having to go through all the catacombs. If they had cut down the catacomb thing and done the chase, that would have made this game a lot more exciting, in my personal opinion. Again, I stand by the whole thing of, not having Elsa alongside. And simply because. I mean, yeah, she was um alongside Indy in the movie, but I think in the game, I don't think she's needed. I don't know why. But anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on do you think that the catacombs was a good choice, or do you think they should have done a chase, like in the movie?